Okay, good afternoon. This is day 102 of making little videos to describe a day or thought in the life of Schizophrenic Dominic. I'd make these little videos to describe some amount of sanity amidst the world going crazy on me and telling everybody that I was insane or crazy. I believe I experienced schizophrenia. It is a reality to be experienced. I don't believe I am diseased or crazy. Day 17 and 45 of these videos, I describe why I make these videos. 45 has a 3-minute intro, then the rest of the video. 17 has gives a reason why I choose to call myself schizophrenic rather than targeted individual. And on medium.com, I have written a book that I submit my chapters there and give some sort of insight into why I may have been targeted with the targeted individual or schizophrenic programming. And I also talk about in the book why I talk about in the book about voice hearing and technologies and some amount of research that pertain to stalking in the public and voice hearing. Okay, so I was going to start off today. I give little thoughts and ideas every day, give it an insight into what I'm doing on a daily basis, when synchronicity I get back, or the targeting, or things like that. And in the last little talk I gave, I was talking about the University of Chicago, or the Chicago School. I don't know, maybe it's not. I think it's Chicago School, and their connection to Milton Friedman and Chile's rise of fascism in Chile in like 1973, and I questioned whether or not the Pope was a bridge for liberation theology and other wings of the church, Pope Leo XIV. And I got feedback today at Gangstalking. They did not like that I brought this up or something or whatever. And there was a guy today walking to Best Buy as I was getting out of my car and walking to Trader Joe's. And this guy had a shirt on that said, "It's never luck, it's always God." And he stared me down. He looked back and stared me down and stuff. And then as he came out, he timed him coming out of the store. Later, when I was returning the cart from the car, we parked kind of a distance away. My mom was going to Hobby Lobby, and so I went into Trader Joe's and I came back out, and then this guy came out of this thing and he walked like where I'm walking like this, he's walking like this, and he walks right up on me. There was no need for him to get as close to me as he did, so he was trying to provoke me or something, and he had some sort of affinity to some sort of god, I'm guessing Christian. This guy was like a Latino guy, so maybe because I talked about Chile and Pinochet and stuff like that. So it just gives an idea of like gang stalking and the way they respond to you and your speech and stuff like that. So yeah. Alright, so that was today. So I got a little bit of hostility today going out, and I reported here, and yeah. I'm sure other people get this too. And so yeah. Homo Deus. In my book about Homo Deus, it talks about how natural animals and mythological creatures were relegated to the background of religions after the theist kind of revolution, or the kind of theist development of monotheism, like Judaism and things like that. So in Judaism, the animals take a back seat, and the mythical creatures, like they kept the angel. No, Noah Yuval Harari is talking about how they kept the angels and the god and the demons, but they did not keep all these other types of mythical creatures like fairies and dragons and unicorns, or animals like animal gods or something. So yeah, and all these different gods and stuff. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and yeah, I have to pay more attention to the way animals were relegated to the background. I think I've noticed it before, but I've never really put my mind to it. And so, yeah. All right. And speaking of, I'm going to jump ahead here to the book about Juanito the pig, and it's called the Not So Misfit Odyssey. And in that story, it's talking about how Juanito is being a little self-centered, keeping the acorns to himself, and he's not sharing it with the pigs. And Conejo's trying to let him know, like, you should think about others or whatever. And Juanito's they're sitting there talking about that, and then there's a roundup of all these bowls, and it's like almost like an ice raid of, I was putting it into human terms, and it's almost like an ice raid of these bowls or something, and maybe because the bulls are more powerful in the animal kingdom, you could say it's like an invasion of a country or something. And the bulls get rounded up, and yeah, so Juanito is about to become an optimist and talk about why it's not that big a deal. I guess I don't know, I haven't flipped the page, but he's about to be an optimist, and it made me think about, like, I don't know what he's going to do in the book, but like being an optimist amidst infringement on human rights. And I think we all do that. I do that too, because I try to be an optimist and be an optimist on infringement of human rights. And I've experienced human rights being infringed on me for a long time. In my book, I describe a lot of the crazy things that were done to me in the last decade or so, including driving me crazy with voices in my head, attacking my organs with directed energy weapons, simulated rapes, and things like that. So I hate to bring this up because it's like traumatic stuff. So I don't know if I should put it out here like this, but I'm just doing it right now. And I made the optimist. So like now I'm seeing it being done to other people. Their rights are being taken away, and I'm less more pessimistic when I see it happen to other people, because I'm like, sooner or later they're gonna come after me, and they're gonna come after other people. And I'd like to think that this Trump thing's just gonna be a shot in the pan, where like people are going to that there is some sort of semblance of democracy left, and we will release this guy. And hopefully, I'm just hoping that happens. So yeah. So I was reading in that book today about Juanito being an optimist amidst the full roundup. So I'll let you know what happens later in that book as we go forward. In my Lincoln book, he talks about how Lincoln was a subtle, contentious person against slavery when in conversations or whatever. He did not fight hard, even though he was probably more radical than a lot of the people about slavery. But he apparently would try to diffuse contentious conversations with humorous anecdotes, and he learned this from his time in courtrooms and taverns in Illinois. And so I was like, that's a little interesting factoid about Lincoln. So you wonder if he was being calculated as like a politician, or was it just like his personality, or is it just like custom or cultural thing that he learned in Illinois? Like, you don't need to have a contentious conversation to make a point. You can make your point subtly, and maybe it's more effective. Because if you think about it, like when we argue with people, or like when we have contentious points, if you turn on the intensity, it's just going to make the other person intense, and then intense people don't really think straight, and they're left with the feeling of like, man, that guy was an intense bastard or something, So, anyways, I was wondering if that's what Lincoln was maybe trying to do, but I'll find out more when I read the book. So I thought that was interesting. It's like, uh, you know, all right. So, uh, anyways, he was not very subtle when he became president. He waged a war on the South to release the slaves, and for maybe possibly other reasons, but uh, definitely slavery was the main reason for that war. And so I always wonder, like, I always think back, it's crazy. We talk about civil wars and stuff, and I revere Lincoln because of his ideas and his ideations and stuff. But it's just crazy to think that, like, maybe there was a possibility if you go further back in time for like them to colonize the South, kind of, where they could come in and change the laws and customs of the South without the war. And I always wonder, like, if you did solve the slavery peacefully, kind of like the way the British Empire did, if you would have a more peaceful situation in America today where you don't have now this rise of fascism. It's almost like they've been waiting 150 years to rise back up. And, uh, I don't know, like, yeah, that's what I think, like, because the blood that was spilled in the name of anti-slavery, does that perpetuate a long-standing animosity towards uh, African Americans in the South or in the rest of the country or whatever? And you know, and I could probably talk about this more in depth in another time or whatever, but I do think that sometimes, like, like if it was solved in a different way, maybe it wouldn't be such bad relations now, or the South trying to rise and segregate people and keep people separated and poor and not caring about other people or whatever. Maybe the bloodshed is like it's an ancient trauma that we still haven't healed from, So I don't know. Obviously, we haven't healed from the slavery trauma, and so then you have to think like, well, other people receive trauma too. So uh, obviously, it doesn't. I'm not excusing Southern bigotry or or any bigotry in America for that matter. Now that everybody's spread out all over the place. So all right, okay, that's what I was thinking right now. So I just shared that. CNN has a thing on its show called Happy Place. And this is taken from me because a few years ago I would share my little happy places. And so CNN, for a while they were mocking me, but now they like me a little bit more. Uh, the whole Donald Trump thing was to mock me and stuff. And so CNN took that and made a show, and they have Sanjay Gupta in Michigan, at the University of Michigan, and that is one place where I want to go. I want to go to a football game in the University of Michigan. I think they have the best fight song, and I've always wanted to go there. And I want to visit Ann Arbor. I want to see it. I have family that lived there at one point, and I would like to see it and just see what it's all about. And I hear that it's a really nice place, and so it's supposed to be a really highly educated place and stuff. So I was curious to see it. And so they have that one on there, and then they had a Alan. I don't know the guy's name. He's an actor. He's in a lot of stuff, and he went to Scotland, which is also, I guess, that could consider it a happy place now. Edinburgh is definitely like a happy place for me. I have fond memories of visiting there with my family a few years ago, and I would definitely go back there anytime to see Scotland again. So, uh, all right. So I think I'm going to stop there today, and My happy place is going to be San Diego in a few weeks when I take a trip down there for my sister's birthday, and it'll be nice and fun to celebrate with Kelly. And so, all right, that's it today. Thank you for listening to me. Have a good weekend. I might do one tomorrow, but I'm not exactly certain.